Hi everyone, so the 1 week PTR update has just gone live a few hours ago during my stream and I've jumped in and tried it out immediately. So most importantly, there was a huge update to the Echoing Nightmare. So now there's rares, there's bosses, there's meteors, there's fallen lunatics coming in to explode on you. There is, I don't know, everything just going ham. You're gonna see it in a second. And also you get a bit of better rewards. So the new augment gem Whisper of Atonement can roll up to 125 now when you beat 125 or higher. So the overall theme and the overall arena and all that stuff is not changed, but there is a lot of stuff going on. It's a lot more active now and you don't just stand in the middle because those meteors hit like a truck. They one-shot my follower with like 5 billion toughness. They, I guess, one-shot me. I haven't really tried to get hit very much. And there's molten explosions, everything. So I want to mostly cover this in this video. There's a few other little changes as well. So they did some progression updates for like Fallen Shaman type monsters. I don't know how much. I haven't really noticed this very much, but I guess it helps. They added a new visual for our extreme, so it's like a nice blue big explosion now, so you immediately know that you're in an Aura extreme. And actually some pretty interesting Barbarian changes that I'm also going to cover in more detail in another video. But what I can say is that Barbarian is actually looking really good, especially for solo XP farming. It seems to be probably like number 2 or so, just behind Inner Monk. So Inner Monk is probably the king, and then it's kind of like tied between Barb and Crusader, and then right after that's maybe Demon Hunter, and then the rest. Kind of, this is the ranking I would give right now. So Barbarian, I was blasting like 2-minute runs, 110s, and sometimes 230 or so, but this was almost about it. I tried a lot of different setups with weapon throw, without weapon throw, so there is some variants you can do, but again, I'm gonna cover this tomorrow, I guess. And there is also a buff to Inner. So in the Inner Mystic allies actually don't despawn anymore, so this was a complaint that a lot of people had, especially for the water build, I guess. So they have the duration refreshed now. And also the fire allies, they have essentially illusory boots, so they hit the right targets more often and don't get stuck in the middle of a pull. Now this fire ally change, I didn't really notice much of it. The water ally change, on the other hand, is kind of noticeable, especially if you're really bad at managing the cooldown of your water allies. So you can definitely feel that it's just much more fluid, literally. So you just have permanent damage, permanent everything frozen. You don't have to worry about it. You can do a full brain dead AFK farming, essentially. And it feels really strong. So Inner water allies is probably the way to go for almost everyone if you want to maximize your solo XP per hour, or at the very least for monk players. But there's also going to be a lot of other builds on all the other classes that are also pretty good. Now this change has also changed the Earth ally a little bit, so they seem to be a lot less reliable now. I think what's actually going on is that the Earth ally timer gets refreshed at least once now, and then they despawn and basically teleport back to you. And it makes the Earth allies just not really feel great, so they kind of like derp out and go off in all directions. But Earth allies is still the best pushing build, I would say. So I tried a bit of water, a bit of fire pushing. Didn't really feel on the same level, so Earth ally will be the push build, and water or fire for speeds, but fire is a lot more work, so realistically water. Anyway, I really want to show off this new Echoing Nightmares, so they have decided to throw in everything as I had shown at the start of this video, and you still have the same arenas, you have the same pylons, but you spawn elites now everywhere. There's going to be bosses in between. Sometimes you can even get a Bandit Shrine in the middle of all this chaos. So you have to try to also fight off defeat the goblins that spawn from that Bandit Shrine. Especially when they spawn at the later waves, like 130 plus, it's kind of rough to actually finish them. I did notice that with the Cornet Pylon, you can kind of do that, and that works pretty well. And it doesn't always spawn a Bandit Shrine. I don't know exactly, I've done like 10 runs or so, and I got like 3 or 4 Bandit Shrines, so maybe that's like a 50% chance or something like that, roughly. But overall, I was still blasting through those waves here, as you can see, so up to wave 180. I think I actually did a new record here on this run as well, even higher than what I had done on Marauder previously. So this might just be a result of like good timing, or maybe I just got lucky with the map or something like this. I was usually around like 160, 170. So it doesn't seem like it actually made it significantly harder to reach higher waves, but I definitely noticed it takes a tiny bit longer. So even on a build like this, where I like completely one-shot, most of the little trash, sometimes you spawn a boss or sometimes you spawn a yellow elite, and they are obviously way tankier, so you don't skip so many waves at once, because you have to defeat everything really quickly, or in like 1 or 2 shots maximum, to actually skip a lot of waves. So this changed a little bit, so it has become a bit slower, but the rewards are unchanged and actually buffed for the Whisper of Atonement. That goes up to 125 now. So you still get the same, like around 870 billion XP, and you can still do roughly like 3-minute runs or so in solo. So theoretically, something like 20 runs an hour is doable. So you get like insane XP if you have enough keys. And the key drop rate is actually unchanged. It's still 100% on the PTR right now. So if that stays, we're gonna see insane paragons, especially for solo players next season, I believe. Even without like Soul Shard buff or anything, you just farm this as much as possible with a good build like Marauder DH or Inner Monk, or there's gonna be a bunch of builds that we're gonna probably figure out for every class that will perform really well here. And this will actually just be like insane amounts of XP. So here you can actually see this Bandit Shrine spawning. So I actually missed it here in this run, I believe. So this was like somewhere here, and I was just so focused on all the other stuff. The thing is that these Bandit Shrines also despawn again at some point. So you can't just wait until the encounter is over necessarily, although that also happened at some point. I was actually done with the whole thing, and then I saw the Bandit Shrine. I guess it might depend on like when exactly it spawns, or if it's like part of a wave. Maybe it just replaces a wave. I don't know exactly. But at the very least, there is some stuff like this that's actually pretty cool, and you can get a lot of loot. I actually managed to finish these Bandit Shrines a few times. And in general, I think this is a lot better than what it was. So a lot of people had to complain that it was very boring, you don't really do much, it's like the old trials, and it doesn't seem like that anymore at all. So here you have like, suddenly 2 or 3 Rift Guardians thrown in there, because they simply don't die so quickly. You have some elites throwing stuff at you, there's these meteors that will absolutely destroy you. You do have the shield pylon, so that still works anyway. So for example, for hardcore, if you have any concerns or something like this, the shield pylon will make at least a later half or so, or even more of the run kind of like a cake, because you just can't get damaged, you can just get overwhelmed. And you also get overwhelmed quite quickly. I think you get overwhelmed faster than before. I'm not sure if they changed something about this, but it takes maybe like 15 seconds or so of not killing anything to get overwhelmed now. So it seems to be faster. And you also have to be a bit more careful when you click your pylons, because if you click your pylons too late, you will actually just get rushed by enemies. But you're gonna figure out the timing quite quickly once you actually do it. And when the encounter ends, you get this reward chest here. So it still drops like the same amount of loot, a bit of mats, this Whisper of Atonement gem, lots of bloodshots. So this seems to be just like some regular like high GR loot. Nothing really crazy about this so far. But sometimes you get like this extra loot, like from the Nemesis packs or the pylons, and you get these goblins sometimes, and I don't know, maybe there's some other like hidden stuff or rare stuff that can appear. Certainly, I would welcome that if, maybe sometimes this chest, drops some insane random loot, or, a bunch of primals, or it drops like bounty materials, or maybe it drops like a pre-leveled like different gem. I don't know, some crazy stuff like this would definitely be interesting to, sometimes have this like hype effect of opening a chest and getting some really cool stuff. Not every time, but sometimes. What I can say is that just for the XP reward alone, you definitely want to do this as much as possible, because there's almost no way you're going to be doing more XP per hour than what you can get here. And again, this can potentially be optimized, especially in groups, I imagine, where you might be able to just complete these runs in like less than 2 minutes, and everyone contributes their keys. So it can be some insane XP meta with like 20 trillion plus experience per hour. I have already shown how much experience you can get in my other video. So 0 to Paragon 1k solo twice in 1 hour. So these kind of numbers are gonna be what we will be seeing next season if you do this optimized with a good build. But at the same time, I really enjoy that there's more stuff going on. It really differentiates this game mode from anything else in the game. And it also differentiates it from what we know with the trials and this kind of stuff. A few things still have to be tweaked and fixed. For example, this game difficulty change that I have done, this exploit, is still not fixed, but this also kind of came up very late, just on the last day before the patch, so I didn't expect this would actually be fixed anyway. But for the live server, this would certainly be fixed. And for example, these molten explosions right now, you see them going off all the time. They actually also don't deal any damage. They deal like 700 damage to my character for some reason. So while the meteors are absolutely wrecking, these molten explosions are just cosmetic at this point. And I think also maybe there could be even more crazy stuff, maybe rare stuff going on, similar to the Bandit Shrines. Maybe sometimes you just get like 10 waves of bosses in a row. And maybe for every defeated boss, or for every defeated rare monster, there could be like an extra item in the chest at the end, or something like this, you know, just have like a hidden counter that just spits out more stuff. So maybe a bit of like a trade-off for having a harder run, you get some extra rewards, but in the end, I kind of like what I see. I kind of like blasting through this with, you know, all the stuff going on, and it's much more fun than it was. Let me know what you think about it, or if you have tried it on the PTR yourself, tell us how were the runs, what build did you go with, and how did that go. That would be quite interesting to know, just to like get a bit of a feel for how people are doing, and maybe have some cool ideas of what else could be changed, maybe on the actual like encounter and the rewards themselves. I am pretty positive there's still going to be some tweaks for the actual live patch, and I guess all the feedback that you can give now counts. That's it, what I have to share for now. Hope you enjoyed my little video. I'm going to keep you guys updated with more stuff, especially about the Barbarian and the Inner Monk. There's some stuff to talk about. And hope you liked that video. See you guys next time.